has done some substantial testing. She's actually filming. Dr. Knight is filming her final episode of her show tonight, which is why she couldn't be here. But yeah, she has the rest of the information on that. You're welcome to ask her. I'm fine with surrendering the files. You're all welcome to access those files. And I understand if you need more information before making a decision. But the sudden revelation that I am what I am is causing some weird, I don't want to say panic, but it's causing a lot of discussion here on Earth, considering that they should probably be concerned with other things like not dying. But I guess
this could be a path to not dying, though. I think that's something important to understand. If there's a way to transfer some kind of consciousness into you, what's the difference at that point between a constructed intelligence and an uploaded person? I mean, just a thought, this could be a way to, if the body, I don't know how the physics of you work and how you are powered, but if it's substantially, humans are carbon-producing machines. We're a huge part of the problem, and if we no longer need to, produce carbon in that way, it'd be an awful lot easier to save the planet if we could all become different than we are.
Well, in terms of Earth, I could see that with our level of technology. Again, I caution you, by the time we arrive at the other end, I don't know whether there's going to be enough technology and resources to continue cybernetic life in a way that's sustainable. It would be horrible to have individuals that are created and expected to live on who all of a sudden discover they can't get parts.
I have a question.
Yes.
What are the ethical thoughts if there is an organic body, if that organic body is viable to live without the cybernetics and without the Emily O'Sullivan persona put into it, if that body could have had its own life and experiences? Has there been any discussion of this and the right to assume that body, that personhood, that existence? If I'm making sense,
Yeah, no, that makes sense, and there's been discussion about it. For me personally, I just want to do what's best for our mission. I want to do what's best for Chariot. I want to do what's best for the whole mission, not just our ship. Although I'm here to take care of everyone here. Maybe I'm programmed for that to be my ultimate goal and my ultimate loyalty, but I can tell you that's how I generally and genuinely feel. So, that's where I am with it. And we're welcome to discuss and debate that and even make that decision here. Because again, the decisions, the provisional government that we have on the ship does not at all have to match the governments we're leaving behind here. So, yes, these things are being discussed in the world that we're leaving, but it's not necessarily what we have to go along with. If it might not even really matter whether or not on Earth I'm recognized as a person or not. What matters is what you think. And, obviously with uploaded persons and such, I don't know that it necessarily affects only me. It seems like it actually affects a lot of people. So that's where we are in that agenda item. And we do seem to have, a couple guests here in chat. Well, we have a new crew member, Adam Larson. Adam, welcome. I guess I may be more like you than like everyone else here. And we also have Cassandra Montague, the famous novelist. So welcome to both of you. Cassandra is also going to be joining us on board the ship. I think dashing is a good compliment, so thank you. Yeah, great. So yeah, we have some more writers and chroniclers on board. That's great to see. You know, it's definitely going to be different. We're going to have to just be kind of open minded, and you know, it's everything's going to be fine. But I'm leaving these decisions up to everyone here. That's just how it's going to work. So yeah. All right. So we've got more agenda items to roll through here. Yeah, my status update, I mean, that's basically it, the whole cybernetics thing. But mainly what I wanted to say is I am still willing to step down as captain if everyone deems that best for the ship. That's
I
up to
think
you.
that's a perfect reason, a perfect excuse to use the voting system for the first time in full.
Yeah.
We're getting close enough to the launch dates that most people are in a place where we can use the physical units. Which
All right.
means we won't have the problem with the mailed physical backups. So I think we should. I've already got 2 of the machines that I've been using that are set up in full. They're designed to be 3D printable, even for someone in flight, so that, you know, if we've got a ship in flight already that wants to use it, or we need to update the parts, that can be done with normal printers. So I can have 4 more of them printed up, and we can go from there. Yeah, I don't know if it's as simple as, are you our captain, yes or no? I don't know if we have to go all the way into the personhood vote or not. Weirdly, I guess that question would be yours, as it normally would be. So, Captain, do we vote on your personhood first or your captaincy first?
I would be fine with having both of those questions on the same ballot. I want to do whatever is best for us and least stressful in the voting system. You know, I think it would be okay to include those on the same ballot. I think people are going to make up their minds and they're going to do what they're going to do.
Have we sorted out the issue of, I mean, because the whole issue with AI, in my mind, especially with organic AI and as opposed to created, you know, a program that somebody writes to be an artificial intelligence, are you hackable?
I can answer some of that based on what Adam and I just finished going through, at least in terms of a UP. Obviously, I can't speak to what the captain is because I don't understand it exactly. But the finding was that, excuse me, the problems with being in physical space. The signatures that were found that were Adam's were faked. It was shown that they were only partial signatures, and that some of the things that should have been there weren't, and also proven that Adam is a terrible coder. Sorry, honey, it's true. So in the end, one of the reasons that I'm finally out of jail as of today, hooray! Excuse me, I was never in jail. I was detained. That my attorneys tell me it's very important to make that distinction. And the reason Adam is out of quarantine is because it was shown that he was not affected or influenced or had any, in any way, was not part of Rogue Mistress or hacked by Rogue Mistress. So at least at this time, no one's ever hacked a UP. They have modified UPs with the uploaded person's knowledge, but they have not hacked them. So far, no, UPs can't be hacked. I say so far because, I mean, 100 years ago they would have said people can't be hacked, and now we can basically give you a new liver by outpatient therapy. So
yeah, so I'm actually, to further determine whether I'm hackable personally, I'm sending everything that Dr. Knight and I found over to Bit right now. So Bit, feel free to look at that. I know it might take some time to analyze. I don't need an answer from you right now, but you're the expert on this more than me, so I'll go ahead and send that to you. I can get that over to our cybersecurity specialist later. But of course, he's one of the few people that aren't here today. But so yeah, Bit, I'm gonna leave that with you, and just let me know when you need to pipe up about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know that I'll probably take a minute to look at. So, about Adam, I see he's here. Hi, Adam. Adam, is there anything that you'd like to say to all of the people watching and to your future crew members now that you're here? I notice that your ex-wife is not here at the moment. So maybe
I hope that's not on purpose. I don't know.
I don't know.
I haven't talked to her all day.
I don't know.
I just got out, so.
But it gives Adam a moment to speak and to hear what he has to say. For everyone to hear what he has to say uninterrupted, right?
I wouldn't say that. I'm a pretty interrupted person.
And Cassandra, of course, I'd also like to welcome you aboard. And if you want to say anything to the world at large, now's the time to do it, right?
No.
Adam, thank you. I want you to be useful too. I'm certainly interested in learning a little bit more about my systems now that I know what I am. It's kind of weird. Maybe existentially, you and also the Father could help me get a handle on that, although I think I've done pretty well in the last week. But yeah, I mean, maybe some systems processing, stuff like that. Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, I guess it's no different than Cassandra saying that I cut a dashing figure in my coat. Yeah. Oh, Cassandra, that's very sweet. Cassandra says she would like to assure her fans that this is just a new chapter, not the end of the magic we have made together. Yes, and we'll be able to broadcast to Earth for a year out, so they'll still be able to see what's going on.
So I have a question for Cassandra, actually. I thought that we were full up. There's no more room. How is it that we're getting a new passenger? I mean, Cap, maybe you know.
Well, people change plans. There's usually a 1% dropout rate, so it's possible someone dropped out or perhaps was still actively involved in the war and didn't make it.
Okay.
I don't have a specific update on that, but I can find out for next time.
I guess I don't know if that Cap, if this is you, or Mr. Rellhart, if this is you, but I do need some way to confirm who is a valid citizen on board, essentially, and who gets a vote. So I need to get access to whatever rosters we have, so I can know when things change.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, Lucius, we both had that information, so if you want to shoot that over to Nora, that would be great.
I'll have my secretary send that over.
All right, that sounds great. We'll get that info to you. So, I guess I want to take a minute, and Father, maybe you could weigh in here on what you think and maybe what your church has to say about this. I'm still the same. I still have feelings. So I still want to say that I feel very strongly about my personhood. I'm a recognized war hero, really. So I feel like I should still have a voice and I should still have a vote. I shouldn't maybe feel entitled to captain the ship, but I should at least still be considered a person. What are your feelings on this, Father? And what about your faith's feelings on whether or not I'm a person?
It's a lot of it is conflicting. I was doing a little research on prior Catholic Church teachings to a lot of this material, and the Church is pretty clear that any artificial, intelligence, artificial thing is just that, artificial.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of discussion. Unfortunately, the Church did not really address these things years ago. So this is new
Mm-hmm.
To the Church. So no position has come down from Council of Bishops or the Pope, but there's some hints towards at least the Church's position that an artificial person, or there's a line here, artificial humanity is just that, artificial. So that's not considered that's not considered, I guess, human the same way that someone that was born of man and woman is.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I think this relates at least to the vote, that doesn't mean that there should be any difference in the way that you're treated or regarded, in a way that, or at least in what you're doing. I mean, I'll just break this down briefly if I can. You were designed to be a captain to pilot this ship or multiple ships, and I don't see any reason why that should stop. Anyway, then an engine should stop being an engine because it can smile and wish us to have a good day. So I think to that end, at least, that you should maintain your role in piloting the ship or being the captain of the ship. However, I think that the Church, and then in my sort of belief, that we discussed this earlier of who was in charge, and we had the thought that the captain, you being the captain, was in charge. It was captain's rules, captain's ship, therefore the captain. Now we have the interesting conundrum of having a created being in charge of, living, and I don't even know what the terms are for this, created beings or beings of flesh and blood. So I think that's problematic to a degree, and I think we've already set the steps and the hints to take care of this to our voting system, and something like that. So at least my personal view on this measure, and things are changing, that I don't know if we should necessarily vote like you being the captain or not, as much as what powers you have as captain. I trust that you are going to do everything possible to keep us safe on this journey. But in some of the other more moral and ethical questions, I'm troubled that some theme that was created by another human is dictating the ethics and morals and legalities that are applying to humans. If that makes sense.
That does, and I want to make sure that everybody has an informed vote from multiple perspectives. So, I appreciate your take in that, and if that affects how people vote and how they think, that's fine by me. I have no real feelings on it one way or another. I myself am not an extremely religious person, but I think there's something to it, and I completely understand if that kind of view sways how people vote. I don't want to pull anyone away from their faith. So, yeah.
Well, I'm just hoping when this vote is set up, because I think these are two very different, at least I think these are two very different positions. Personhood, which I don't know how that's going to relate to the Chariot Beta, but captaincy apparently does, because you brought it up, and I think that's different than governing the ship for the duration. Does that make sense? So I'm hoping, I guess, that Nora, when you set up the vote, that it's phrased in such a way that it's not voting on Emily being captain, which also means our governor for the duration of the ship, because there's so many unknown questions. Does this mean that Emily is not going to age and not going to die, and she's going to be there the entire time, whereas we live and die? Is that to affect us? Are the other people willing to take orders, so to speak, regarding legalities of things that come up from something that was created by someone we don't know, who may have programming that we are unaware of, that will not be suffering, theoretically, the problems of aging that we do? But, however, if looking at autopilots, we trust autopilots all the time, from brief shuttles and our cars and everything like that. and they wish us a good day and hope everything like that, and we don't have a problem with them taking us from point A to point B. And the church doesn't have a position on that. But when you start grading us or talking to us on different moral things, I think then it gets into, morally and ethically questionable stuff.
Well, and can I just say, first off, captains are supposed to be in charge, right? I mean, that when we say, should she still be captain, we are voting on leader. At least that's my understanding of how a ship works. If we wanted to vote on a different leader, we could vote on a different leader, but that's not something currently contemplated in a provisional government. I think that's something for us to be aware of. If we are voting for her to be a captain, we're not voting for her to be the navigator. We are voting for her to be the captain. It's very different from an autopilot, and it's very different from anything else. And I guess in terms of saying, are we voting on someone whose programming we don't know? You don't know my programming either, and I don't know yours. I don't know what, take this however way you want, subroutine, bug, whatever else makes you religious. There's something in your programming that makes you what you are. And there's something in my programming that makes me good at coding. And there's something that's in my programming that makes me not give two shits what other people think. And there's some bug in someone else's coding that makes them care a lot about what other people think. And that's fine. But it's all programming, and you can't tell a person's programming by looking at them. You can't tell a person's programming by talking to them. Behavior is just programming. It's all programming. That's harshly, well, I won't get into that. But point being, I don't think, if we're talking about someone's programming who we don't know, how do we ever know anyone's programming? I don't think that's a question that we're trying to make different between AIs and UPs that I don't think is fundamentally different between them and humans. I just don't. Anyway, but yeah, someone who actually knows more about this military crap, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, Mr. Relahart, are you actually in charge? Are you the boss? Like in a corporate structure? Or is it Captain O'Sullivan? Or what was the original plan here? Because that matters how I'm going to structure that ballot.
So my original plan was that everybody had a duty and would oversee their respective areas of the ship. With medical stuff, our doctor would be overseeing it. Out of secondary systems, you would be the expert. And that for day-to-day operations and decisions that needed to be made on the fly, that's for the captain to decide. Ship security, that would be up to the captain to decide. As far as, interactions and moral dilemmas aboard the ship, I think that's beyond one person.
That's fair.
And that's why I had suggested a council, of the prospective department leaders.
And I want to say also, with my personal leadership style as captain, as I hope all of you have seen, is something is beyond my area of expertise, because I am not an expert in everything, right? I'm just good at leading and moderating and delegating. If aliens roll up to our ship and they want to be entertained, then that's going to be a job for Roxy, right? I'm not going to be the entertainer. Roxy, what would you do if, just to lighten things up a bit, what would you do if aliens rolled in and were like, show me what you got? How do you think you would handle that?
I would show them what I got. I mean, you want to make a good first impression, don't you?
Right? See, this is what I'm saying. Like, I know that's not my area of expertise. You would handle that really well. You'd be able to...
Yeah, get them involved, audience participation.
Right? Show them our culture, right? And show them how our culture is going to be our own culture. It's not necessarily going to be the same as Earth. So, as a captain, that's my style. And that would continue to be my style. I'm not an expert in these individual areas. In fact, I'm a combat situation expert. There will hopefully be no need for there ever to have me use that expertise at all throughout beta, whether I live and die tomorrow or live to arrive at Proxima with your great-great-grandchildren or your great-grandchildren. And I don't even know, I sent Bit all the information that we have on me, so I don't even know what my situation is. It seems like my cells are human, so I'm not sure if that's like a regular human life, an extended life, if the parts in me can be just like reskinned, literally, with, other skin. I don't know how that works. But we'll see. So yeah, that's kind of, where I am with that. And there's going to be some other stuff we need to address here, because obviously Royal Heart and Company did the greatness of establishing Chariot, right? And I think, and this is just an opinion, this is not an official statement in any degree, but I think regarding that, the company has had to bear a lot of criticism about not knowing what I really am, about taking on board controversial members, that kind of stuff. And I just, Lucius, I want to give you a chance to kind of respond to that and say what you knew about or what you didn't know about, or whatever you kind of want to say there, because I know you're taking some heat for having Adam on board and having me on board, and I don't want the mission to suffer for that, and I don't want your company to suffer for that. So feel free to say whatever you need to say to people.
Okay. Well, first, I think that I owe everyone that's on this video call an apology for not having the information about Emily firsthand. I think that it caused everyone to lose a little bit of faith in the project, and that was definitely not the intention. The Emily that we're talking to now, the Emily that was on Alpha, the other Emilys that are potentially out there, like we say sometimes that we wish that there was a clone of somebody, and I can't think of anybody that would be a better case and scenario for than Emily. From my talks with her, on this video call and off this video call, she is a real person, and I truly believe that. I would not see another captain aboard this ship other than Emily. But I also believe in a democracy, so based off of the opinions of others, but I can tell you, if Emily is not piloting the ship, I would not feel comfortable going on the ship. And that's not just because she's my friend and I value and trust her. It's because of her skills, and she has been thoroughly checked out. I will stand behind her 100% through all of this. And if you give her a chance, I think you would see the same things in her that I do. And that's what, Royal Heart and Company is all about, is backing and growing the things that we never thought that could be possible. The last time that I was on a call, we were talking about a battery being able to power a person, and that just wasn't feasible. Yet here we have an AI and organics. And I think that's just a testament to the great things that we can see aboard Chariot.
I certainly appreciate that statement. And, Lucius, when we first met after that battle, I was trying to hold together, a ship full of people who had experienced a very difficult time, and we didn't think we were going to come out of that battle alive. So, just to hear you say that you have that kind of faith in me is very moving. And if I have failed to inspire everyone else here to similarly have that kind of confidence in me, then that's my failure. And I am putting myself out there to do whatever I have to do to make up for that, or to convince you, or to help you. That's what I'm here to do. And look, whatever I am, whatever I'm made of, I am a real person. I have flaws. I drink too much. I get sad when I think about what happened in the war. So these things affect me like they affect a real person. I don't just process them and throw them out. These experiences are what make me capable. So, but that's my opinion. So if there's anything else anybody needs to know or add, that's fine.
Well, I have a question. It has just to do with the overall structure. I mean, if the there's two ways of thinking about what we're doing. There's more than two, but what I'm particularly interested in right now is, I mean, if we're the equivalent of a military mission, where the important thing is that we have a goal to meet and that we are all subsuming our interests in the ability to meet that goal, which is to bring life to this new settlement and, hopefully allow the human race a chance to continue in a new setting with all that's happening with Earth. Then if we all acknowledge that, then that makes for a very different way of governance than saying we're a bunch of people who have all agreed to come together and form a society. And, even this talk we were having about genetics, I mean, if we were a military crew, the captain would be in charge of all of the decisions. If we're a pure democracy, then everything comes to a vote, including, I guess, technical things that most people don't have expertise on. How is this decided, or is there a decision point? How do we decide what we are?
I mean, right now we have the direct voting system, but as you said, and as we've discussed before, certain things are not going to be, or shouldn't necessarily be, in the expertise of everyone to decide, right? I should have no business making a decision about an extremely technical detail unless it's crisis time. That I delegate to the people who are good at that. I'm not a coder, right? I just see a problem and delegate it to the coder, or, if it's a crisis, I deal with it the best I can, but I know that should be passed up to the right person. And as a voter, I feel the same way. That's not just a leadership thing. That's being a responsible citizen. But again, this is just my opinion, and we're welcome to structure things a little differently. But as far as what I'd envision just to start, and I'm not the only person here, of course, who has influence over the structure of these things. Nora, Lucius, you both have your own visions about the structure. I'd envisioned people, being able to make decisions about their specific areas of expertise, but to certainly often use the direct voting system, just as we've been doing here prior to launch. I mean, does anybody else have strong feelings about that?
This is Lucius. I would say that I have, similar feelings about that. We don't want to put medical issues in the hands of people who have no medical expertise. We don't want to put genetic decisions in the hands of people that don't have that genetic knowledge. But
Yes.
where the boundaries are is, I think that when decisions impact multiple people, and it comes down to choices, morality, these are things that we can't fit in a specific department or something like that. Arriving at a planet later but safer, that's a decision that needs to be made as a whole. And I think that there's a spirit to that can't necessarily be defined. But I think as a leadership team that we can come together to say, okay, this needs to be voted on. This is an important decision.
I mean, that makes sense to me. Nora, in your experience, is this how things could be set up? I mean, is this an ideal government situation for you?
Ideal government situation. I have feelings about ideal government situations, but I probably am already on thin ice with coming on this mission, so I'll avoid some of it. I think, I mean, it's better than what we've got now, that's for damn sure, and it's definitely doable. I think we need to be careful whenever a potentially oligarchic situation is coming up. When does this council decide what's up for a vote? That's tough. Nothing's going to be perfect. Anything's better than what we've got now. Probably that's the most of it. I know just how bad the corruption gets behind the scenes, and at the very least, we'll be able to legitimately poll the will of the marketplace or thereabouts. So it's a start. It's a start, is what I'm saying. I think when we get to Proxima, I personally am going to be pushing for, as pure a democracy as we can get. Personally, I believe more in sort of an anarcho-syndicalist. More importantly, sorry, I'm a little distracted tonight. Not narco, anarcho.
Anarcho, which means what? I'm sorry, I just don't know that word.
Yeah. It's a system that relies less on structure and more on consensus of large groups of individuals working together towards a common goal. But as I've been reminded repeatedly, it's not going to work for this generation because there's a large number of us who are relatively bad people, me included. So basically, I'm hoping that we can raise our kids toward a better government. Better government comes from better people doing it well, and doing it honestly. And let's all be pretty honest here. Even this group of the best and brightest is full of, like the cap said, flawed people. So yeah, that'll work for me. That'll allow me to use the voting system for major issues, and it'll keep the day-to-day flow of the ship's operations running. But I think that we should let people do what they want and modify the system as much as they want and modify it by direct vote. I think that's very important. What we decide when we set up today shouldn't become a stressor or a structure for everyone down the line.
I agree. And with that, I only have two more things really on the agenda. One of them is going to be, the last thing is going to be, I'm going to turn it over to Bit at the end, and we'll get as much information as she can uncover about my nature. But before I do that, and I think it's crucial that we have that information before any voting happens, so we'll end with having that information. We don't necessarily have to debate it. I don't know that I necessarily want to debate with a bunch of people in a public forum about whether or not I have a soul. But I am willing to put that up for vote. But before that, there is some bad news, and I don't want to say there's a silver lining to it, but it does present an opportunity, and it is going to concern Roxy. I've been informed that there have been more attacks like we heard about happening on Epsilon. Only this time it happened to Beta. So basically we need to solve this rogue mistress thing. And I'm going to suggest that we maybe consider bringing Adam in on this. I don't think Tess is going to like that suggestion, but Adam wants to be useful. Adam can probably access areas that we can't. And it's getting down to crunch time. So we need to figure out a way to solve it. And I'm just going to make that suggestion and leave it. I'm more concerned right now about providing all of you with the details. I said earlier that things happen before launch. People pull out of the mission. People die, usually in war, considering things are the way we are. But there's been another attack. And it's a shame Tess isn't here. Maybe this is why she's not here. But there was an engineering mishap. It did not happen where she is, because Tess is up in orbit already, right? So, she's safe up in her own construction area with the engine. But the body of some of the ship is still here, and unfortunately, some of the parts involved in constructing the engine, they're very large, and they're mechanized parts, so they open and close and move just like our bridges do here on Earth. And while two of the engineers were working with those constructs, they fell. It was to look like an accident, but preliminary investigation has revealed that it was malicious hacking. So we still have hacking issues, and now it's on our ship. So the hacking is a problem. I did say there was something bright to this, and I'll catch up with Tess because I'm sure she knew these people. They were on her team. But the strange thing is that we get to decide who to bring on board, and it has been strongly Rogue Mistress. And it has been Rogue Mistress is arriving just in time. I think Rogue Mistress is about to come out just in time for all this news. But anyway, it's on us to determine who we want to replace these 2 crew members. Roxy, I said this concerns you, and that's because it's been very strongly suggested to me that I allow you to pick one of these people.
Okay.
I can't say further about how it's been strongly suggested, but I will say pressure has been applied. So you are to pick one, and then that leaves the other person up for us as a group to decide. And there may be.
If we're losing engineers, don't we need engineers?
Ideally, engineers, but there's some pressure from, how would I put this, the entertainment world.
I don't care.
To have us bring aboard another entertainer. I don't know. Maybe somebody just thinks Roxy's lonely. Maybe somebody thinks more films need to be made in space. But it has been strongly suggested to me that I bring it up in this fashion, and that I leave at least one of these replacements to Roxy to decide.
Now, is this like a list I have to choose from, or?
I mean, you can pick anybody who's qualified, but the way it worked before, I mean, Lucius had a look at most of these applications and everything, so I think it would be wise to have his approval, considering it's his project.
Okay.
So think on that for next time, or if you have any suggestions now too, that's fine too. But it's tragic. It's nobody that I knew very well that passed away. But it's very alarming that we're still having these security issues, and that 2 engineers on beta, before we've even launched, have died as a result. So yeah, that's what's going on. So do think on that for next time, who you might want to pick, and we'll see what is even happening here.
What in the hell is that?
This is not good. Oh, it's probably the person who killed my engineers.
Oh.
Can you kick them?
I'm trying, but nope.
Hold on, let me see if I can do something here.
Is that a clown?
Looks like
Of course,
it.
it's a clown.
Looks like
I do not like it. Ugh.
Hey, clown, were you the one that just killed my engineers? Oh, that is creepy.
Okay, this is weird.
That is creepy. I suspect we found the culprit of our whole engineer issue. Let's see.
Can someone track that?
I'm working on it. It's not exactly an easy signal.
If there's anything I can do to help you in this, just let me know.
Yeah.
Whoa, that is.
Whoa,
Okay.
Oh, look,
that's creepy.
That's what an engineer killer sounds like.
How do you know this is the murder?
Whoa.
Whoa.
Because creepy digital clowns don't show up for funsies.
They don't.
Really?
Wow. All right. Are you
I'm trying
gonna?
to keep it muted, but it's not
Creepy digital clown, are you gonna own up to what you did to harm? Were you the one that did it? Did you kill these engineers?
You didn't read my orders. So it wouldn't help me.
Okay.
Whoa.
It's not quite comprehensible.
I just...
Audible.
Oh, people who hide behind masks. Like, just come out and fight me.
I'm not sure that's a mask.
What do you mean you don't think it's a mask? I
know what it looks like when an artificial person is using render cycles to make a video representation of themselves.
Ugh.
It's an actual clown trying to talk to us.
Wow.
So is this one of the AIs? Exists
Possibly.
really only?
Wow. Nora, what's going on? Were you able to...
I'm trying.
All right.
It's still trying to come in, though. It's not like it's easy to do.
Yeah, I feel real secure going up on the ship. We're gonna clear this up, everybody watching. It's gonna be fine. We will get to the bottom of this before we even think about launching.
My thing is, like, what is the point? What is the end goal? Like, why does this thing keep messing with stuff? What is the motivation? I don't understand.
At least give us a manifesto, you know what I mean?
Are they jealous? Like, did they want to be on the ship? I don't...
Like, what do they want? And I don't know. I mean, maybe if they were nice about it, Roxy,
Well, so
you could have selected them to be on the ship, but they're being jerks.
If you guys promise
Too
you
bad
won't
it's fast.
ask, if you guys promise that you won't ask exactly how I know, I do know that the original Rogue Mistress was attempting to stop or delay launch. Delay was acceptable.
Why?
But the why, I didn't ask.
Okay. It's not like I would understand it anyway, whatever you told me.
It's like I don't even know how you would do this. I can't keep it out permanently. I just can't. But as long as I keep closing ports that it opens, I can keep it out temporarily. It's faster than me, though, too. Jesus.
All right.
Does it make sense to at least keep a channel of communication with it open so we can figure out what it wants or try to track it back or something?
Maybe.
I mean...
Can you trap it?
Trap it? No. You guys are lucky I'm keeping up. No.
Can we let it in and then seal off any outports?
It doesn't work like that. It's a network. I can let it... shit.
That's not good. I'm looking at the feed. You cannot stop what is already here. We need to isolate and destroy this, or we're not going to be able to launch. Like, we can't...
Again, appeasement doesn't work for people, but maybe it does for AIs. Rogue Mistress, just know what you want.
I wish to make it approximately first with or without you. Oh, so you want all of us off the ship then? Is that it?
Wait. That doesn't make any sense. If you want to get there first, why are you delaying all the launches? It's like the opposite of what you want.
Unless it's actually on the alpha.
That's also possible. That is possible.
Or something before alpha? If
Oh, Christ.
I hope not. I hope not.
Please don't make this a V'ger situation.
Lucius, there aren't any, test vehicles roaming out there, are there? I mean, you would know that more than the rest of us.
No, there's not. Alpha was the first.
Alright.
It might have been trying to delay the ship so that it can get
Yes.
onto the ship.
Alpha will not make it. Do not worry. What?
What?
That is ominous.
I mean, the whole reason we have multiple ships is to ensure that most people get off of the planet, but also to ensure that at least one makes it. But, I mean, the hope is that we all make it. Wow. Alright, Rogue Mistress. Our primary goal, like, I need this situation taken care of. We can't do anything unless Rogue Mistress is eliminated. Unless this threat is eliminated, neutralized, dealt with, negotiated with, whatever you want to do. As far as I'm concerned, Rogue Mistress is pretty much a terrorist against the Relahart and Company Corporation, and should be dealt with accordingly. So, you know, from a military perspective, if I were given the order to take care of this threat, this would not stop at me just cutting off this person's access. Am I being clear? This would involve going out and actively hunting down this individual. I need people to take care of it. If you need somebody to go and hunt this person down, like, give me a location. I'll put together a team, I'll take care of it. But we gotta find out who this is and where they are. I have no problem just completely murdering somebody to make sure that this works.
Okay, can we maybe not murder on an open channel?
Look, it's kind of part of my job.
I got out of jail 12 hours ago.
It's part of my job. It's just I could make sure it's government sanctioned. Don't worry, I'll take care of those details.
Wow.
It's not exactly nice.
I didn't say it was nice. I just said I was good at it.
Wow. This is going to be played in a constant loop on anything that...
Is this the kind of thing that artificial people are able to do, is murder with impunity?
I don't think that has to do with my nature as an AI or organic form. It's just... I'm not saying that I want to murder. I'm just saying my primary objective is to keep... No, I'm serious. I don't want to kill anyone. I'm just saying I want the mission to launch successfully and safely. And if that means eliminating a threat, then that's what we do in the military.
But can you even fight cyber warfare the same way you'd fight physical warfare?
No.
Ironically, I'm really good at physical warfare, not the other kinds. But who knows what kind of capabilities Bit may find in my inner workings. I don't even know what I'm capable of, right? So, look. Alright. I'm just catching up on the feed. Alright, Rogue Mistress, I've had enough of you. We're going to handle the Rogue Mistress situation. That's going to be our priority. And moving back onto our agenda, we have one more thing on the agenda, and that is, Bit, I sent over my information. What do you make of it? What's going on? What information can you give us so people can make informed decisions about my status?
Well, it's looking like what we have in your situation, it's really new. Honestly, I want to find whoever made this and I want to shake their hand. You have your body, which was created, it was cloned, and then it has a series of almost like veins that were created, and they're spread out throughout the brain, and they were placed there in the development of the brain. And in time, they will actually dissolve into the body. But in the meantime, what they did is, as the clone body developed, it sent electrical signals from, it's almost like a black box that's located at the base of your brain. So it was able to train the brain in order to form these memories and this personality from this AI crafted from Emily O'Sullivan that was located inside of this black box and modeling after it. There's actually a lot of really, really interesting implications with this. Like, Adam could have another body if he wanted in the future using this technology, make him a body and put him in it. But then you also run the risk of people with terminal illnesses trying to upgrade to a new and better body, or people who don't like. People could use this technology to like upgrade to a new and better body. People who don't like the way that they look can just upgrade to a new and better body. It makes it so that it's no longer possible to necessarily look at solving the issues, because you can just skirt away from it and not try to solve the illness, but just move on to something different, which is certainly a thing.
Why is that a problem?
Well, if you can solve it, if you can, the resources that are required to do this, to make a clone, and the clone, if it's a genetic disease, the clone's going to have it too. I mean, you can do genetic editing, but then you get into, you know, some issues that happen to cause problems at research facilities. And
I guess we also have to figure out, how was this body created in the first place? I mean, was it cloned? Was it...
Well, if it's got the same genetic material as the other Emily O'Sullivan's, it's either engineered or cloned.
Yeah, you're right.
I would think. If you could figure out a way to take this technology and do it, because it goes through the brain. You can't take this and you can't put it into a pre-existing brain. It has to be grown around it. But I'm looking at it, and if there was some way of adapting it, you could almost enhance even cybernetic implants to overcome limitations of the organic brain. If this can be furthered, you could even use it to help people who have certain disabilities in order to make it almost therapeutic. But I haven't seen anything like this with cybernetic implants yet. Whoever did this, and I don't know why they keep it a secret.
And why, if you were going to make somebody who was better than human, why would you make or clone somebody who's so flawed? Because like there are a lot of moments where I still say that I am not okay. You know, I'm competent to run the ship.
Any kind of cybernetic developers or geneticists or anything like that happen to stalk you? I mean, you are a famous figure. It is very possible you might have somebody out there.
I mean, there have been threats that we have neutralized, but that was all in the course of my very official duty. So, regardless of what I'm saying now about tracking down any threats and eliminating them, sincerely, my experiences in doing that have been many, but they have been very much within the context and the framework of my duty as an officer in the Navy. So, as far as I know, I mean, I've had injuries, I've had surgeries where I've certainly been, been under anesthesia. But the thing is, I have these very real memories of being very little. I mean, like this right here. I mean, I have very real memories. This is me and my grandfather. I mean, that's a real person, right? I mean, that's real. I mean, these are people like. These are the Sullivans in Ireland before they emigrated. Like, this isn't programmed. This is very real to me.
Yeah, but I hate to tell you that, but unless we can corroborate that, I mean, I can create new people out of nowhere into photographs. I've got algorithms that can generate new faces and new clothing and even mimic old, faded styles.
But
I can.
Lucius, you met me. Like, when you met me, it was a crucial, difficult time for the world and for me. And was there anything but humanity in what you saw when you met me?
No. I think of you as human then and human now.
That would be my remaining plea to, I guess, I want what's best for the ship, but I think that says it all in terms of what I think should happen with this vote. And I don't know. All I know, another thing I know is if we ever have a movie made about this in the distant future, I hope they find a way for Roxy to play me. Roxy, would you do that? Would you do that?
I'd probably have to get really drunk first.
Yeah, probably. That is not wrong. That is not wrong. I just don't know why anyone would replicate somebody who was originally so flawed. That's why would you want that? But look, that's really all I have to say on it. You all know who I am. We've discovered a little bit more about my inner workings, I suppose, and I think we need to vote on it, which I'll leave up to Nora, and then I also think that we needed to deal with this rogue mistress threat. Father Kaivo is doing that now too, kind of trying to figure out what the real motives are and kind of where they come from on a deeper level. I encourage everybody to interact with Rogue Mistress and figure out this person or this AI's motivations, disable, dismantle. Before we sign off, does anyone have anything else to add to our agenda or to our voting for next session?
Current plan is to do a single ballot with 2 issues at large. One, do we acknowledge AI and uploaded persons as full functional members of society with all the rights and privileges therein? And 2, should Captain O'Sullivan continue to be our captain for the remainder of the Chariot Beta mission? And I'm also going to do a just for fun poll of everybody out there. Let's vote on whether or not folks in the digital world have souls, because why not? So right. I will make that live for as many people out there.
We can't even get people to agree on that about people.
That's true.
It'll be a fascinating... Well, we'll ask 2 questions then. We'll do a baseline of, does anyone have a soul? And then a secondary of, do artificial folks have a soul? And see what happens. Who knows? Maybe we'll discover a weird pocket of humanity that believes only artificial people have souls.
Roxy, do you want suggestions as to who you should pick to come on board? Or do you have someone in mind?
Actually, I have something in mind.
All right. So we don't need that on the poll then. We can leave that off. So.
Well, and can I just suggest, and please, everyone, never, ever, ever, ever tell Tess that I said this out loud. But if I were you, I would rely on her expertise. She's probably the best person to know what kind of person can actually keep that engine running. And I'm just saying, I know we have to choose 2 people.
Mm-hmm. Maybe
Never tell my sister I said she was smart, okay?
Well,
I'm gonna tell her. I'm gonna tell her right now.
If we'd like, we could leave the decision about the other crew member up to Tess and her expertise.
That would be my strongest recommendation.
Yeah, does everyone agree that would be a wise decision considering we lost engineers? All right.
I agree.
All right, well, should we allow Tess to choose a replacement for the other engineer because we need an engineer with expertise?
Yes, and may they be blessed, and it's very sorry to hear that for their families and everything. Feel bad, because it might have not just been them, it might be their families that were also coming on the ship. But yeah, if it was engineers, I would assume that it's Tess would need to make that decision.
All right, and the families have been notified. Obviously, I'm not going to say anything like this on public broadcast without the families knowing. But Father, if you want to follow up to the families with our condolences as a crew and as passengers, that would be very, I think, a very diplomatic and heartfelt gesture. Does anybody else have anything before we sign off? I am going to make sure Tess is updated on everything. And I'll make sure that cybersecurity is updated, although I'm sure he's already getting messages about this. Yeah. Anyone else? Anything? All right, everyone. We're going to sign off. Have a great night. This was a toughie, but we'll be back.